PWNcast.
Episode 17 of PWNcast, the post-E3 report. A post-E3 report that is 1 week too late. Because everybody is busy but me. So, I'm joined again by Kyle.
Hey, Internet, what's up?
And then, what's your name? You wanted to change your name for this one?
Shotgun Crocodile was not a good name.
That's a damn good code name, dude. That's like two ferocious things rolled into one.
My code name is Little Goose.
Little Goose.
What's your maiden name? What's your birth given name? Just for the folks out there.
Little Man.
That's Derek, everyone.
Yeah, it's Derek. Derek is back. So same people that complained about what we would see at E3, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago or whatever.
We had to do a follow-up. Because we bitched about E3, and now we had to bitch about what we've seen from E3. My favorite part of E3, by the way, we're just going to jump right through this.
No, I got to do some housekeeping first.
Shit.
I've got to do some dusting, some lemon pledge. First off, for anybody that actually listened to the last episode, you may have noticed that I put a MediaFire link in the description. That is a MP3 download of that episode, and I'm going to start including that from episodes now on. And I'm going to go back to previous episodes and add MediaFire links to those, so you may download them and listen to them without getting on YouTube.
You love your fans.
I guess. I have fans.
Maybe they're like the opposite of fans. Either way, you love them.
Last I checked, I was this 230-pound guy standing on a roof with a cane cursing technology and God. You ruined it, you bastards! Anyway, new MediaFire links. Also, regarding somebody who has been on past PWNcasts, some people may remember Pat. I have no idea what's going on, but I don't think he's going to be on for a while. So he's dealing with some personal issues right now and is taking a vacation.
We just need to tell him the truth. The Pat,
he got lost in New Jersey.
Yep.
He's fucking drunk somewhere in New Jersey. No, actually, I have no idea what's going on. He's just like texts me one day. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be gone for a while." I'm like, "Okay, do whatever."
That was it. I'm just gone. Like,
yeah,
hey, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like I'm leaving.
He joined the MIB.
I guess. I mean, it's a pretty shitty organization to join. I mean, I couldn't stand one workday with Will Smith. After Earth happened, come on. Housekeeping aside, moving right in. Headline news.
When Gabe Newell jumped down from the stage and released
He just like, at the Sony conference, he just come down on this nice wire work and just held up his hand, and there's just 3 digits sticking up and then walks off stage. Little did he know he didn't get disconnected from the wire harness and fell over.
I cried a little bit after E3. I was really hopeful.
So, the Xbox has pulled a 180.
Very original.
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody and their mother has used that headline.
Wait a minute. You mean their last console was 360, and if you pull 180, this is genius!
Hey, why do they call it an Xbox 360? Because you turn 360 degrees and walk away. Such a shit joke, but so fucking funny right now. So no DRM apparently now, no always online. And Derek, what do you have to say about this, Derek? I think you said something.
At first I thought, honestly, and maybe I'm really naive.
Well, actually,
at first, I honestly thought they did this on purpose. I was like, wow, this was like just. I was like, did they think like, let's fuck with them? Because it's kind of like that thing where you show like a really shitty product and everyone hates it, but then you're like, oh, just kidding. Look at this, and it's like, oh, it makes it look much better than before because they took all the shitty parts away from it. Which now I don't. I messaged you that night, and I was like, does the Xbox win now? Because it's like it's on such like everyone's so happy about it because it's like, oh my god, like because there were people that were on like the fence. I'm like, I really liked my Xbox 360, and I want to keep getting Xboxes, but I don't know because of like this. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden that person's like, oh, other than the price margin and maybe like exclusives and the privacy thing, which the NSA is
we'll tackle that a little bit. We'll tackle that a little bit more later. But Kyle, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna write it down before you continue. I mean, this no DRM things, which means no more always online requirement. The console will no longer check every 24 hours. Game Desk will have to be in the console now. You can't just install it and then leave it out. The internet connection's only required when you set up the console. All downloaded games will function as normal. That means no family sharing, nothing like that they were previously talking about. Regional locks have been dropped, and no additional restrictions on trading games or loading discs. So yeah, they basically took everything off the table.
Everything
that they
people
put
hated, they decided to not do.
I don't think it's like what you're saying, and they were just trolling us into thinking that this was going on, like this was some kind of elaborate Metal Gear ruse.
That sounds insane.
Yeah,
like
I don't think Microsoft is that crafty because Windows 8 still exists. I think the big thing to take away from this is that the people spoke with their wallets, and the pre-order numbers probably came in to Sony and to Microsoft, and Microsoft started shitting their pants and panicking.
Because they were trending pretty high on sales. Like, at least, we don't really have hard numbers, but like on Amazon, I saw it number 2, PS4 obviously, but I don't even know if it was that. I think it was, did you read the Navy Times article about the Xbox One?
No, I have not.
Basically, after E3, because they didn't really announce anything new DRM, it's basically been all the same stuff since they announced the console. But this Navy Times article was written. It was basically, the narrative of the article was like, Xbox is un-American because it does not support U.S. soldiers. And like, I think that for a console based in America with their big titles are always military shooters, like that narrative is bad. I think instead of being called like an un-American product, does not support our U.S. troops. And then there was also the Jimmy Fallon showing, so you also have it now in mainstream where Jimmy Fallon's saying, oh, yeah, PS4 plays used games, Xbox doesn't. I think they were just seeing all this and going, hey, we're going for the mainstream, but this narrative of being un-American, now it's on talk shows, this is going to reach the mainstream and we can't have that perception. Like, whatever about the hardcore, but this is going to hurt us. We got to change this right now.
Turned into a PR nightmare, basically.
It grew out of the hardcore and started getting into way bigger markets than just us.
So, it definitely helps complicate things when it comes to the so-called war. I'm using air quotes for that. I think the term console war is kind of dumb. It's more a matter of personal preference. But it definitely helps complicate the table a little bit because post E3, as soon as it was done, as soon as both conferences were done, I think it was pretty much clear which one would easily dominate the market. Now
at least as far as hardcore, for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then it's like, well, we're going to take all these things off and make it more appealing to hardcore and even later on mainstream audiences. So now we can start to have actual competitive numbers again, which two console developers, two different companies competing only helps benefit the consumer.
And it's basically, they're both, like, at this point, they're basically the same console. It's going to come down to games. It's just going to be titles. I think it's going to be exclusive titles are going to be more important than ever right now.
Which, if that's the case, at least from what we've seen, we can kind of rule that other than Titanfall.
Well, before you say anything, we haven't seen a lot of the exclusive titles yet. Like, Xbox, I believe, at this point has more first-party exclusives, but then PS3 supposedly has, 40 or 30 for 2014? There's a lot we haven't seen yet when it comes to exclusive titles.
Pre-E3, there were 30 listed. Post-E3, I believe there were 48.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but if we go by past, and if we go by, the complete past of Xbox and Sony, there's one company that's always stood out in between the two of those that has better first-party support.
I think for the last couple years, you're correct. I think when Xbox 360 was wheeling and dealing, buying exclusives left and right, I think Xbox was probably the better buy. And that's what they're kind of relying on now. I think they're just shelling out money right now. Like, hey, we want your game, make it exclusive. And I hope they keep that. So right now, I think we're kind of on even footing, especially when they look at the launch titles right now. The launch titles are kind of, well, at least when it comes to first-party support, a little... there's some good stuff. You got Forza. You have Infamous coming up in Q1 of 2014 for PS4, but it's kind of lackluster when it comes to this. Is going to be a third-party launch game festival, not so much first
definitely.
party.
Just look at the bundles for the PlayStation 4 on Amazon right now.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, big one.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, Battlefield 4. what was another one? I'm pretty sure there was another one.
Yeah, but we get third party.
There's the majority of the bundles. Half of them at least is third party stuff. So.
Yeah. This is gonna be the return of like the screen to screen, like people really watching. Like, oh, here's Xbox One on this side. Here's PS4. Which side? This side. Which one looks slightly better?
I read.
So you go buy the other.
I read
one.
a headline that the Xbox is actually now pre-ordered, so outsold the PS4.
Yeah, the pre-orders have jumped supposedly quite a bit.
Which makes total sense. You took away everything that everyone hated, and I've always hated this about people. And it's usually in the gaming industry you see this a lot where like people. I read a status where someone was like, "Oh, too little, too late." You know, even though he was a fan of the Xbox 360, he was going to jump ship to the PS4 because the Xbox One had all this stuff and it's too late. Like, and that bothers me because it's like they technically you could say they were, like you said, they were driven by sales and they're like, "Oh shit, we have to fix this," and that's fine, and they fixed it because they want to sell their products. But they want to sell a good product. They don't. I mean, you're not going to sell a bad product. So it's good for you as a gamer. And if I don't think it's. I think it's irrational to hold all this against Xbox because they had these plans in general. Because even when you read like comments on forums, I read some forums before we started this a couple days ago, and it was like people were just still so mad at Xbox, and I just.
Well, to your point, I was actually on NeoGAF. I've been frequenting there a lot more lately, and I saw it right after the Xbox 180 thing, just trying to gauge it, and. It's true, like, a lot of these people are really buying into the Sony narrative. Like, you had people, like, quoting journalists who were positive about the Xbox One before, and, like, everyone's like, we should email them, tell them what pieces of shit they are for being on the other side of this, and how dumb they were to support this. Now it's a 180.
Is NeoGAF Super PlayStation? Isn't that the Sony website? Or?
I'm not sure. I don't frequent there enough, but a lot of people post on it. It's the most popular gaming forum out there. Okay. NeoGAF.com.
Okay.
The mindset that I go into with this is that I don't want, despite how much I may trash talk Xbox for what they did with their DRM policy, which is completely
Well, you said they'd be dead in like 3 years.
Yeah, I honestly think that they would have been dead in 3 years, and that's not a good thing. Because if you completely eliminate the competition, then you could have a developer or a console developer gain too much control and start doing DRM shit to you, because it's the only dominant force on the market, and then you have maybe smaller things like what we've tried to do with the Ouya try to take over, and you got this giant titan and you can't drop it.
Well, also, I don't hold on to this image that Sony did not consider this. I mean, when you look at the previous patents, it's very clear that they were going with a DRM type model. That was like
disk
Microsoft.
tagging tech.
Which, from what I understand, from what I've heard from people, is there's a few reasons they didn't. One, they didn't have the resources to get a used game system out within the time they needed. And two, after they saw what happened to Microsoft during their unveiling, they're like, okay, well, we obviously don't want to be on this side of it. And they basically, it goes an instance of like, here's Microsoft and Sony just standing by a river, like, hey, that river looks really cool. Are we going to jump in? Like, yeah, let's do it at the same time. They count to 3. Microsoft jumps in, and Sony's like, well, fuck that. And then just turns around and leaves.
It's the piranhas eat Microsoft alive.
It's standing there. It's
I'm going to go in my pool.
It's holding both the towels, and it just walks the other direction while Microsoft is flailing and getting wet.
I don't believe for a second Sony wasn't considering this, but I do believe they were on the right side of this, and they built a wonderful PR narrative for their consoles so far.
Yes, I mean, for them... For them, well, we'll probably get to that in a little bit later, but just jumping right into Microsoft's E3 conference, since we've already completely
Actually,
covered...
can we back up for a quick
Sure.
second? I'm actually kind of bummed about this. I'm a little, because I don't think any of us, I think we can all agree on one thing. Things are moving digital. Like, we're moving away from physical, and...
Which saddens me greatly.
Regardless of what you think of the 24 hours, like, I'm really bummed that we don't have an internet infrastructure to support something like the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to be one of the
they
bigger...
were banking on?
Yeah, one of the bigger issues. And I liked what they were doing with digital sales. I liked how they were doing more than just, you buy this, it's yours, you can't trade in, you can't do anything. I like the idea of family sharing. Granted, we don't know if they were going to exploit the hell out of that. Maybe we can only play a demo version or something like that. But I just like them exploring this. It was a lot, like, for better or for worse, I thought the original Xbox One was a lot more interesting, I should say.
That's true.
And now it's a lot more...
Yeah.
It's basically what we know, what we're getting. And I think we're going to be going back to those policies as this console cycle moves on. I think Sony and Microsoft are going to try their hand at slowly pushing the envelope.
Well, that was something I was going to ask you too. Is at first you have somebody like Major Nelson saying we can't just flip a switch to turn off the DRM, and then 2 days later they flip the switch and turn it off.
Larry's pretty much PR at this point, so yeah.
What's to stop them from, after launching patch 1.1 of the Xbox One, turning it back on?
Well, I doubt they're going to do that, but it is true that, like, with what they've done, it's very clear everything is on the table. Like, there's nothing set in stone about this console race. Like, what they've announced so close to launch, it's fucking crazy. They've changed the complete narrative of their console when it comes to games. Mm-hmm. And that's bonkers.
Well, I will say this. Aside from the outstanding privacy issue that's still apparent, it has made the appeal of an Xbox One jump up in my eyes, and has made me actually consider purchasing one of those.
Does the privacy even matter now that, like, your phone and everything else in your life is pretty much monitored by the government anyways? And I'm not trying to, like... I'm not trying to, like,
well, the difference is,
I'm just saying, like,
technically, I can duct tape my Kinect because I'm never going to use the fucking thing.
I don't know, Kinect Star Wars was a AAA.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, it was Game of the Year 2011.
It got robbed. Ever heard of acting school?
It got robbed. I mean, Last of Us? Come on.
Yeah.
And to what you said, I mean, regardless of the validity of the complaints, it's just the perception. The perception was not good for always-on Kinect.
I understand. And people are still going to be bothered by it.
Absolutely.
And you're right. Microsoft... And even Sony, in that sense, are still banking on the fact that we're going to have gigabit internet connections in 2015.
Mm-hmm. Which would be amazing.
It would be awesome, but I don't see it happening.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, they could push it. They could.
I need the fiber.
Having a console that was like this would push it more for it to be done quicker.
It was one of the things that I was reading about the Xbox before they unveiled anything, was the fact that they could easily go through and get contracts with cable companies across the United States, have some kind of program where if you sign up with their company, instead of getting a cable box, you got an Xbox One, and that would push the need for faster internet connections throughout the country, because you've got all these people with this piece of hardware, they want to fully utilize it to the best of its ability, and that would force the cable companies to upgrade.
I almost feel crazy saying this because I love that we don't have multiple SKUs this generation, but I think I would kind of wish now we had multiple SKUs, because I know I'm definitely in the minority on this, but I would have bought the DRM model for sure, just to try it out and see what's going on with this thing.
That's the only reason you just want to see...
Like I said, it's interesting to me. I find it extremely interesting, because I know we're probably going to be on a more gradual path, which is probably best, but I just like how they went, like, no, we're not dipping our toe in the water, we're just going to fucking cannonball into it and see what happens. And obviously, people didn't like that. But
well, when you told me that you had pre-ordered both of them, that's what I thought that you were doing with the Xbox One, was basically, I'm gonna see what's going on here.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I am curious.
I want to see what it's like to live in a video game police state.
So my question to you then was, were you upset when you heard it, or were you more...
I was upset. I'm a little bummed by it, just because I know what I'm getting right now, at least for right now. Now it's all about the games. And besides, like, Forza for Xbox One right now, I'm not really super stoked.
Is good.
Yeah, but it's still ways off.
I think that's maybe quarter two of...
Yeah, as far as launch, what we got is Dead Rising, Forza, and I always forget this game, but some other game. Rise, which I'm not getting Rise.
Oh my god! Well,
quick time events the game.
Is that like the perfect segue into Microsoft's conference at all?
I wanted to. I read.
Oh, for God's sake!
There's a lot of news about this.
I wanted to rehash. I read an article, and this is kind of different. It was about the the Tesla car.
Mm-hmm. Tesla, yeah.
And there was another electric car, and they were. We may have to.
Are you talking about the incorrect review on the New York Times?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, never mind.
I may have to link. We may have to link, because I think it was Forbes. I really like reading Forbes articles, but I may have to link this later, so my shitty rehash of it isn't as bad. But there was another car company like the Tesla, that was kind of driven on people buying the car, and it was about, they were going to set up really expensive recharge stations throughout the country, and how it was too big in America for it to be viable, and how the only way they would survive was people buying the product, and not enough people did. And I feel as though this could have been the same thing that happened with Microsoft, with like the internet. I'm talking about the internet
before,
connection,
like, it actually came. Yeah, because they were
exactly, because what they needed, if we had 1 gigabyte, if like 90% of the population had 1 gigabyte download speeds and like internet speeds, this whole issue would have been not nearly as prevalent because people would be like, oh, I have internet all the time, and this won't be an inconvenience in my life. But a lot of people, like you included, Kyle, have 256K.
It's crap internet. It's more than that, but
yeah, because you pretty much live out in the boons, don't you?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people like you, and there's a lot of people much worse. Like my brother has to tether his Xbox 360 to his phone to get internet. As crazy as that
horrible.
sounds. Actually, apparently he says I played with him online before. It was actually good.
I guess 4G's better than nothing.
Exactly, as crazy as it sounds. So my point is, if a lot of people hadn't bought the Xbox One to counter maybe things would have stalled in a way. Like things would have gone slower because now there's not a demand for it, and it's
Also, to your point, you made a good point. Like a lot of their promises for the future of online, for what they were trying to do, was like, yeah, it's not happening right now. Like we want a Steam model, but that's on the way. I have a feeling they didn't get enough people to even buy into that plan. That wouldn't have happened anyway. So it's a good point.
But we can now move on to what.
E3 with Rise.
Yes,
what they opened up with.
Yeah. Well, they didn't open up with Rise.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
They opened up with something. Well, it wasn't really that surprising because it's kind of one of those things that I've always expected with every E3 that would eventually happen, and that's Hideo Kojima taking the stage at a Microsoft conference. Ever since that HD collection dropped, it's pretty much been fair game that he would show up at a Microsoft conference to sort of promote his up until the HD collection exclusive franchise
for
to
the
Sony.
opening, though, not bad. It's good placement.
Oh yes,
I actually worked that day, and I remember I was on an app that's really cool, but it was I'll actually plug it. But I was reading, and I read Kojima on the in Microsoft because they were live blogging to Microsoft, and I read his name, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, and then you sent me you're like, is Kojima a sellout hack now because he's at the
so
Microsoft
confused.
conference? I said, no, man, that happened with the HD collection. What are you talking about?
It's called Flipbook. You should get it if you have an Android. But I was flipping, and I was doing a live blogging, and I was like work, and I wouldn't have enough time to look at it, and I was like, huh? And I put my phone down, and I was like, and for 10 minutes I was like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense. And I'm not as close to him as you are, but to me, to me as someone who's not a huge fan of Kojima, but as recognizes and appreciates his work, it blew me off the water. It's like as a headlining for a Microsoft conference.
I think that trailer. I think you were probably out of the three of us the one that took the most away from this trailer because
he's fucking amazing.
Up until then, you've probably just heard Kyle and I going back and forth about the Patriots, Solid Snake, Big Boss, and all of this.
I've been friends with Kyle longer than you, and we've gone I've just he's just talked to me about Metal Gear Solid and just how it's his favorite game series and da-da-da. And so I've heard about it, and he was like, oh man, Metal Gear Solid 2 is such my favorite game, and Naked Ryan.
Naked Ryan.
Yep. Always talking about Naked Ryan.
And that's his favorite part of the game, by the way. But
that's the fucking hardest part.
And I respect Kyle's opinion greatly. So I always knew, and I've heard, you can't unless you live in Iraq. You obviously understand what Metal Gear Solid is and what it embodies. It's him, and then to have this trailer on a Microsoft and me to watch it, and I'm like.
Oh yeah, and then later
real-time weather. And
later the Red Band trailer, which only augmented the experience, in my opinion. I, for the most part, most of the games in the series I enjoy, except for 4. I'm in the minority for that. I don't think 4 was a game. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I think when you have a game that less than 50% of the game is actual gameplay, I think you have a problem. MGS3 and MGS2 found a balance. MGS4 was...
Well, before Act 4, what did you think of Act 4 of Metal Gear Solid 4?
Act 4 was post-Shadow Moses?
No, it was... Well, yeah, but it was
I'm going to plug my ears, guys.
No,
it
I'm
was
not
at the
spoiling
base.
it.
It was at the base.
Spoiler alert.
Shadow Moses.
Okay, for that...
Spoilers.
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to tell you what...
I kind of already did it.
It was difficult.
Really? But you didn't enjoy that whole thing? with the music playing and it just...
Yeah, it had a little bit of...
that part.
It just made me wish that they would remake MGS1.
Well,
and it not be Twin
careful
Snakes.
what you wish for, yeah.
And it not be Twin Snakes.
Dennis Dyack, stay away.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. All right, we're done with the spoilers.
So, I mean...
No, I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
do you think if they had, because obviously Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to be a humongous game, and they're
Oh,
going to have the ability to have a lot of cutscenes, but also pair it with a lot of gameplay. And my question to you two, and I know this is going to, we're like slowly switching to Metal Gear Solid talk, but do you think if Metal Gear Solid 4 had been made for these next generations consoles, that they could have fit more gameplay with the cutscenes? Because I think that, like, I didn't play the game, but is it because that he wanted so many cutscenes for the story that they had to cut down on gameplay?
I'll say this, like, as far as gameplay, it may have changed a few things, but I really think, like, there was a lot of stuff to tie up. There was a ton of stuff to tie up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Hideo told the story he wanted to tell, so I don't think it'd be that much different.
Okay.
Whereas this one, he has kind of more of a black slate. There's definitely some established canon, but we've never seen a lot of the stuff that's happening, so he has carte blanche on a lot of stuff they can do here.
Don't get me wrong.
I just hope the boss comes back.
It's a damn good movie, but as a game, no. I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's bad, and people who enjoyed it should feel bad. No, it's a good movie. I don't like the fact that it was more movie than a cutscene, and well, it was more movie than gameplay. And then they toned down the stealth element a lot. Like
it looks like in this one, in Metal Gear Solid 5, they are upping the ante with gameplay.
No kidding. I mean,
I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Derek and I think that it's like Metal Gear Solid and the James Bond movie, The Living Daylights, put together.
It is, because I watched Daniel play Metal Gear Solid 3, and it was very Bondy. And then I watched this, and I was like, what? Like, I feel as though, like, I would like to interview Hojima and ask him, or if I say his name wrong.
Hojima.
I'm sorry.
Kojima, everyone.
And ask him if, like, James Bond is one of his inspirations. Because
I'm sure it is, because MGS3 happened.
That, and this looks so much like, I mean, this looks like a Bond game, and it looks like fucking In the Living Daylights.
80s
Which
Bond.
is one of my favorite Bond movies, by the way. So this game, I've never played a single Metal Gear Solid game, and I may wait and not play any of them until I can play this one, because it looks...
Well, to support that, like, Hideo, he wants this to be a game where people who haven't played Metal Gear Solid can get in on this. So,
it looks so fun.
Is it really?
And,
yeah,
not
he said
even.
that.
I tell you, like, it doesn't look fun. It looks amazing, because I feel as though there's a difference between fun games and amazing games. Like, you can...
Like Geometry Wars and Metal Gear Solid. Like, that
yeah,
sort of
it's
thing. Like mechanics and experience.
Yes, Borderlands 2 to me is so much fun, but that's all it is to me. Like, it's a great game. It's fun, but it doesn't, like, Mass Effect 2 is not like, the playing of the game isn't that fun, but playing the game enriches you.
Like, you experience it.
Yes, you experience the game. So I'm hoping this game has, like, a little bit of both, but much more enrichment, because I want that game in my body. It looks amazing.
I have to say, out of any gaming fan base, I would have to say the Metal Gear fans are probably the biggest conspiracy theorists of all time. Oh, this person they showed in the trailer is this person, and it's like David Hayter's not in the game anymore, and he's like gonna show up at the end of the game because he's Solid Snake and it's Kiefer Sutherland's big boss now, and it's like it's completely insane. Tinfoil hat. It's great.
Kojima knows it. Like, he invented a whole studio just to announce the game.
And I'm sitting here going, I just want to play the game because it's going to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Rise.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, you go from, like...
Well,
Rise.
before we start, just for people who don't know, Rise is a new game. Well, it was announced in, like, 2011, but Crytek's doing it. It was supposed to be a Kinect game. Now I'm not sure what it is, but they unveiled it. It looks like you're taking the character of General something. He's part of the Roman army.
General Centurion number 6.
Yeah, there you go. He's a general, and
Let's just say, like, he's not the God of War. He's the Roman God of War.
Well, it does look like God of War if...
So,
like,
Mars.
The majority of mechanics was
QuickTime
events.
What really surprises me is
and
that...
I'm sure, like, there will be someone who really enjoys this game. There will be a small amount of people that enjoy this game.
There's always a group of people that enjoy any game. There's people that swear that Duke Nukem Forever is a good game.
For the most part, this game looks...
The thing that surprises me is that this is the same director of the Crysis games. And it's Crytek, and I'm
totally
like,
different games,
those are great games. How can you put something like this out? But then again, we also discussed it's a launch title.
Mm-hmm.
So
which it looks like the...
It's a launch title?
Yeah, it's a launch title.
It looks like the... Like if I were to make a launch title, and just like, okay, what... Just looking at past launch titles, what would you make? Like, I have a feeling Rise would just pop up. And like, okay, yeah, you're a launch title. Okay,
Rise
yeah,
is the cameo elements of power.
Basically, yeah.
Of
Cameo, Perfect Dark, yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so
And it looks gorgeous for a launch game, I'll say that. Like, remember how Perfect Dark looked, and then you got what we have now? Like, I can't wait to see where these consoles go graphically.
Crytek always does a great job of making games look fantastic. CryEngine 3 is an awesome engine, but it's just the amount of QuickTime events that are integrated into the combat
what bothered me is
sequences.
there were some really cool elements of the game, like you form your phalanx,
yeah.
and you like tell your people to like you kind of control like a group of like 6 or 10 other soldiers, but they're kind of around you in the battlefield, not really close to you, but then like you can tell them to go capture something, and it looks like that's really cool. And then it's like you hit XX and then a B button pops up and you do a QuickTime event, and you're like,
which admittedly we haven't seen a lot of the game, but as far as that basic sword fighting mechanic, I really hope there's more to it than that, or like an extra difficulty where that's just gone.
Yeah, I mean,
because even if the combat was a little quicker and a little bit more arcadey, I could see that be funner. It'd be like a fun game, but this looks like neither fun nor enriching. It kind of falls in that middle where it's just like
this game could have easily been a nice hybrid between maybe some semi-technical combat with also a hack and slash. But the QuickTime events that you see in the combat really take away. Oh well, you're not going to be doing any hack and slash anytime soon because we got to stop and you got to hit X and B and
supposedly,
all that good stuff.
for at least from what I've been reading, you don't even have to hit X and B. You can just put your controller on the table and it will play out on its own. So
that's kind of bullshit.
I mean, well, maybe it was just an E3 demo thing, not to piss off journalists or whoever was at E3. But I hope they change a few things like that.
In the next game, Quantum Break.
Yes.
Quantum Break.
By Quantic Dream.
Is
it?
Is
it really Quantic? I'm gonna
no, it's whoever developed Alan Wake.
Is it Quantic Dream? Well, you go explain the game. I'll look that up for you.
Basically, Inception the game for Xbox One, because this trailer didn't like the debut trailer that happened in May. I still have no idea what the hell is going on in this game.
Like, if things stop in midair and, like, there's a conspiracy and it has...
You're the only one that can stop it. Stop what? Tell me something about this game, please!
Well, I mean, it's probably not going to come out until after next E3, right?
Yeah. Well,
so then there's really no reason they should up this.
I guess.
I guess it's just like, hey, look at this cool... Like, and they show, like, you should go look at the trailer if you haven't seen it. It's really cool. Like, I stopped what I was doing. I was like, oh...
Oh, okay.
Okay, that looks
I like
cool.
this.
So, I mean, like, it looks beautiful. Again, and like this one, like you just said, like, remember Perfect Dark? And then I remember playing Perfect Dark, like, 5 years after it came out, and I was like, oh, God. Like, it was just like, this hurts you. Like,
wait, I enjoyed this at launch?
And I did. I enjoyed that game at launch, and then I realized, like, this is so bad. But, like, it looks amazing, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, it's going to come out a year from now.
And I love the games that Remedy, that's its studio, Remedy puts out. I love Alan Wake.
Quantic Dream, I believe, only develops for Sony.
Yep, that's right. You're correct.
So, anything else about this game that we can't really talk about because we don't know what's going on?
I like this trailer more than the one they showed at the Microsoft unveiling.
It makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, well,
at least it shows you something that you're going to do in the game.
Well, there's like a loose narrative, like, okay, there's this guy named Phil or whatever who may have betrayed you.
You've got 90 seconds. Yeah. Okay.
Some girl's gonna help you.
I feel as though you're like a time detective or something. Like, that's what I took away from it. You're like
dude, it's a Time Splitter sequel.
I could be talking on my ass here, but from what I remember, some accident happened that the main character was involved in, and because of this, he's able to interact with time in a different way than most other people.
Which sounds pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's a shooter or like any kind of like action.
I'm excited, and there's a good studio behind it, and I'm hoping for big things. I just want to see more.
Speaking of wanting to see more, Killer Instinct.
I'll let you take this one because I have no history with Killer Instinct whatsoever.
Okay. I really, really like arcade Killer Instinct. I love SNES Killer Instinct. I think Rare, in an attempt to try to make a Mortal Kombat killer in the 90s, I think they made a great game. Granted, it didn't garner as much success as Mortal Kombat. I still appreciate its place in fighting game history. I mean, there are memes made about this game. Ultra Combo, Combo Breaker. You see it on the internet all the time. And then I knew that the Killer Instinct game was coming because it had leaked out a few days before E3 had happened. But I did not expect it to be as bad as this.
Now, what's bad about it? Because, like I said, I have no history of Killer Instinct, so what makes this...
You have trademark characters that there are certain elements of them that should always be carried through their character design, and you completely abandon them.
So like Scorpion's chain attack.
Yeah, like
sort of thing?
it would be Scorpion without his spear and saying "get over here." Like for example, Jago, who was the ridiculously ripped man that you saw in the gameplay trailer fighting the werewolf Saber Wolf, has always been a ninja. In this, he looks like this. He's like Chris Redfield. He just took steroids and he punches boulders now, and it doesn't really work. And then the fact that they want to go with a free-to-play model with this. And the report, I believe now, is that you get 2 characters, pay for the rest. Killer Instinct has a pretty expansive roster. Not as big as Mortal Kombat, but at least 40
have they
fighters.
Announced how much money each character's? And they're probably, you think they'll bundle them together like, hey, here, buy this group
Probably.
for $5.
But I'm thinking that's like the best case scenario is each character is $5. It could be more.
I have heard a rumor that it will experience a retail release if that's the case. That's better than trying to do this whole, quote, free-to-play model. Here's a disc with the game on it. Which, to me, is like, why would you even bother trying to make it a free-to-play game if you're going to have a retail version of it?
Well, no, that doesn't bother me at all, because you have a shit ton, when you play with other people, a shit ton of people are going to play as the free-to-play. I mean, that's a way of, like, getting your game out there. And, like, here, have it for free. Because free-to-play games usually work very well on the PC. And like.
Well, it's also great to promote Xbox Gold. Like, hey, you have Xbox Gold, try out this fighting game. It's free for you.
You know, it doesn't sound like a free-to-play model to me. It sounds like, here's the demo. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, but a demo you can play online and play with other people who have the game.
Well, I see where you're coming
demo.
from with that. Like, with the demo, you won't be able to play in an online match, things like that. But really, let's think about this here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of free-to-play models kind of adhere to that same thing. I mean, we really don't even know what they're even doing with the free-to-play at the moment, but I see your point, for sure.
I mean, to me, and the fact that everybody's like, oh my god, Rare's developing a Killer Instinct game. They're not. It's Double Helix, who brought you such glamorous AAA titles as Thor, the movie, the video game, and Captain America, the first Avenger video game.
Is this their first non-licensed game?
Well...
Because I'd be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt if this is their first non-licensed.
I'm not sure, but they don't exactly have the best track record for games out there. So that kind of bothers me. It would be different if it was just Rare doing it because, well, Rare did the first 2 games.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it is going to be one of those things that
you mean Rareware that bought you the Banjo-Kazooie game where you rode in a car?
Nuts and bolts? People like nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts sucks.
It has its fans. And what was the Viva Pinata? There you go.
Viva Pinata was the shit.
Didn't they bring you GoldenEye? Perfect Dark?
Yes.
Zero?
That's right. That was
yes, they did.
Okay, then.
You enjoyed it at launch. I never played the game.
You got mechs and shot stuff.
I never played Perfect Dark Zero. I can't tell you how bad it is. I can't speak for it.
It played like a tank, but it was a first-person shooter.
Like Resident Evil tank, or...
No, but just so slow.
So slow?
That was slow.
Well, I mean...
I think before we move on from Killer Instinct, maybe we should, talk about some culture stuff about the rape innuendo.
Oh, this is not news. This is not
we should at least cover it.
Everybody,
because this is our opinion podcast.
Yeah,
your and ours. So I figured we could go on.
Just let it happen.
The issue.
That's what he says. It'll be over soon. Just let it happen.
While
playing a fighting game.
Someone in the YouTube comment said he's talking about playing the video game, and it was kind of like, yeah, that is what he.
Well, I mean, just for context, during the E3 press conference, they did a live demo of Killer Instinct after the trailer where they had a lady, I think she was a producer on the game, and a designer. And they were playing, and during this time, the first match, the ladies getting whooped. And the guys, they're kind of some sort of stage trash talk back and forth. The girls complaining about not using a joystick. It looks very staged and corny. And at one point, the guy says, just let it happen. It'll be over soon. And that's what we're talking about right now.
That's not a rape joke.
I would say this.
It is how you take it.
I would say it is based on rape, but it's just overall I'm not reading too much into it. It's just unfortunate, and I also heard it wasn't stage talk. It was just they're uncomfortable. They're not used to public speaking, and I'm sure that's a hard thing to do in front of possibly 1 million people.
Yeah,
and it's just unfortunate that happened.
And I have a feeling if afterwards, if they could redo it again, he would not
Absolutely,
say that.
100%.
No.
Absolutely.
And it is there is somewhat of an innuendo there, and I mean, it'll all be over soon. Like, okay, yeah, like in another context, yeah, that could be something. But they are playing a video game, and I think that it's been a little overhyped. I don't think there was anything malicious about that. I don't think like the men were like, like afterwards, like I told her, high five. Like, no, I don't think that happened at all. Like,
it's just a bunch of freaking sissies going rape, and no, that's not the case.
Honestly, I think
not at all.
Because I read like some of the feminists were like, oh, the girl was getting her ass handed to her, and the girl was on the losing end, and then the guy was like, it'll be over soon.
And guess what happened at the end of the presentation? At the end of that staged fight, she won.
True.
What does that tell you? That she's Jodie Foster in the Brave one. I'm calling it right now.
Well, if you look at that, that's not even the worst part of the whole thing. Check out the Twitch feed and what people say in that. It is ridiculous.
Somebody on our gaming actually screen capped that, and it was like, it's some of the most generic banter that you would never find on the sidebar of Twitch.
This will be dope on the Kinect. It's like, God, you really don't understand.
The Kinect is shit.
You should also post that with this video.
Honestly, that picture should go in the link dump, yeah.
Yeah, it's... so staged.
That's unfortunate.
But it's funny that you should mention that because they highlighted the Twitch features with Killer Instinct.
Which looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. As a PC gamer, I like how Twitch has League of Legends, Dota, StarCraft, Age of Empires, like all heavy PC
you don't want
things.
change.
Like, now it's gonna be like Killer Instinct,
Halo.
Titanfall, Halo. I'm like, I just want my PC stuff on my internet TV. And I'm not trying to act like an asshole here.
You sound like an old man.
You're an old man cursing the sky at this point.
It's just like, I don't want
Charlton
Call of Duty.
Heston
But
in
then
Planet
again, there
of
is
the
Call of
Apes.
Duty. There is Call of Duty on Twitch. It's the PC version of it.
Well,
but
you were looking on Twitch earlier, and I saw stuff like, oh, here's somebody playing Fallout New Vegas, Halo 4.
yeah,
This
there's
is
a lot of
nothing. This console gaming on Twitch.
What bothers
is
me is I
new.
think there's gonna be a lot more like, I don't know. I feel as though there's gonna be a lot more bros on Twitch now, and I don't want that.
I mean, there aren't already.
Not as many as there would be.
It's a bunch of neckbeards watching League of Legends.
Yeah, which
pretty
at
much.
least they're like PC.
Which, oh my god, League of Legends is such a horrible game. I know that's like
you will get murdered for saying
that's
that.
like an unpopular opinion of mine.
No, that's not unpopular.
I've played
that
it.
Is a murderable
I don't get it.
offense.
I don't understand what people see. Okay, cool.
It's like StarCraft though, because it's not an easy game. Like you can.
I'd rather play StarCraft.
But the thing is, like, look, I am a StarCraft. I would rather play StarCraft than League. But I will give you this: they both have their merits, and League is not an easy game.
So that's second strike for me. First it was MGS4, now it's League of Legends.
Yeah, you're
what's gonna be the final nail in the coffin?
It's alright. I said it was unfortunate that Microsoft dropped the DRM, so I'm still.
Yeah, that's
dead.
true.
I'm
These people have shit opinions.
Yeah.
No, but like League, you have to worry about like four or six other people, like all at once while controlling your character.
Well, if
So
I
I'm
have
not
excellent
fought for.
teamwork, I shouldn't have to pull them.
No, whatever. But we can.
Well, anyway,
we can
Moving on.
Back to E3.
No, I think that streaming to Twitch is an amazing thing.
I agree. I'm
Yeah.
just.
You're just trying to be the PC contrarian here.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, I'm okay with it. It doesn't. It's not going to bother me. It's just I have a feeling. I
Because
just hope it doesn't change
at
the
the end
landscape
of the day-
because I love Twitch. I love Twitch so much. I watch Twitch every night. Like I'll watch someone stream a video game.
At the end of the day, Derek, you'll still be able to watch Day 9 and
Yes.
the StarCraft
Fucking Day
Championships. You don't
WCS.
have. You don't have
Innovation
to watch.
was amazing.
You don't have to watch Halo 5.
That's true. Which can we go to that now? Is that the next game, Halo 5? With
I get the completely CG trailer of
leather
mass,
coat
of mass
leather,
Halo 5,
Mm-hmm.
mass Halo 5,
or,
Halo Effect 5,
Halo Effect 5,
Halo Effect 5.
For a sec, I thought it was the Blizzard new MMO. For a sec, I was like, oh my god, is this it?
Whoa, hang on a second.
Because I saw like his hand, and I didn't recognize it as Master Chief. I'm like, Armored Hand, like StarCraft, Blizzard. Like I was doing this weird like Rain Man, just like trying to link things
do you
together.
really think Blizzard would announce that at E3?
I have no idea what Blizzard's going to do for
Well,
Titanfall. I'm
no.
sure it's going to be released for everything because we're with Activision right now. So I think when it comes out, whenever that is, it's going to be
Well, they put
everything.
Activision in their place. You don't think they would?
Well, they're the same company. I mean, let's get that straight. Like, they're all one company. What's good
Yeah.
for one of them is good for all of them.
No, that's true.
Like, Blizzard money is, I'm sure, is funding Destiny right now. Like,
Which
looks
we'll get to
amazing.
that later.
Yeah. So what was next?
Titanfall.
We're gonna go straight to the end.
We're not gonna talk about Halo at all because
it was a CG
particularly
trailer. We're getting a new Halo.
Didn't like Halo 4.
Yeah, neither did I.
Because Marty, and really, this is gonna sound sad, but Marty O'Donnell is one of my favorite gaming composers ever, and the lack of him in that game just like hurt my soul.
That's not the reason why we came to a mutual agreement about Halo, and that's the fact that it ended at 3.
Yeah.
The Halo ended.
I was happy with that. I was
the
like,
timeline
okay,
ends at 3.
You killed the Flood, the Covenant, everything. Like they've come to a cool understanding, and like
Halo
the hero
4?
sacrifices himself, and then what?
Halo 4.
And
I don't consider
I started that
canon.
game so excited, like I was like, this is so awesome, and it slowly dozed into, okay, this is okay, and it was an okay game, and I think if Marty O'Donnell had been there, it'd have been a better game.
I really think, I know I'm odd man out here, I think Halo 4 was one of the best campaigns of Halo. I think it's like Halo 1, Halo Reach, and Halo 4 are like the 3 top.
I've never really been too big on the Halo campaigns.
Because Halo 3 I didn't think was a very good campaign. Halo 2 was okay, I didn't mind it. I thought Halo 3 was so far the worst, I think, of the campaigns.
Well, the best Halo game to ever exist is ODST. I mean, come on, guys.
I enjoyed
I'm not being sarcastic there.
Okay.
I seriously think ODST is the best game that they came out with.
I enjoyed it
Halo
quite a bit.
1, Halo 3, ODST, 2... And then that's like, I actually take that back. All of those are really close together because I loved Halo 1 to me was like a groundbreaker because I went from the N64 to that and it was like, that was my first like real like, oh, like,
well, going back to Halo 5, I mean, we've only really seen a CG trailer. I don't think it's really worth discussing
like the fourth
right
one,
now. We don't.
I mean, look, you look what Bungie did with Destiny and it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like, these guys could have made a Halo game and I would have been totally, and 343 Guilty Spark, or is it 343? I'm sorry, 343 Industries made to me an okay game. So I'm not particularly excited about this, even though like I'm not sure what this even is. Like, is this like?
Well, that's why I think like we're discussing it. It's just a lot of ifs and buts.
Are they just gonna start writing more canon for Halo to support?
Well, that's what they did with 4.
Well,
is that they gave you a brand new enemy. The Forerunner? Well, no, they were...
because of Mass Effect, it's either Protheans, Prometheans, or something else.
Prometheans, that's it. I remember laughing at that because I'm like, Prometheans? Why not just call them the Forerunners and get it over with?
Well, anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so...
Halo 5 CG trailer.
What was after Halo 5? Was it...
Well, we did have the, was it the Legend... is it Legend of Dragoon?
Oh, and yeah, Crimson.
Yeah, Crimson Skies. That was for the Kinect.
Lack of audio. That's what they should call it.
Unfortunate. Really unfortunate.
I still yet to see a trailer that has audio for that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think in the first Kinect trailer they showed like a CG trailer of it. It had audio confirmed for Crimson Skies.
I'm so happy because you know what? At least they got the deaf audience down.
Yeah.
I feel bad for those devs and those presenters because that was awkward.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Because that came later. Never mind. I was thinking of something else, but that's at a later time. Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah. Was that during the Xbox?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Was it? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. No, I don't think EA did.
Well, anyway, it's been mentioned.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Fuck it. Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm
the PWNcast, everybody.
Yeah, fuck it. It should say PWNcast, an original gaming podcast. Quote, we have no idea what the fuck we're doing.
And then like,
it's gonna be all the
fuck it.
Well, Dragon Age, what do you think?
That's the thing. I'm not that big of a Dragon Age guy.
I'm a huge Dragon Age fan.
So, haven't played them.
Well, I played like half of Origins, and I'm like, this is boring.
It's so much fun.
I'm gonna go play Mass Effect 1, the best Mass Effect now, instead of Dragon Age Origins.
Me and Kyle are on the team of we both love
and
Dragon
that's fine.
Age.
But you know what? I will say this about Inquisition. It does make me want to go back and play Origins again.
Especially Origins.
Because I think Inquisition looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact, because BioWare has come out and said it, we're going to incorporate mechanics in Inquisition that will carry over to Mass Effect 4. So I want to see what they're going to be bringing to the table.
Well, what you saw the Dragon Age trailer, right there?
Yes, I was a little disappointed that it was just like CGI, like clips and everything.
But as far as where they're going with it, what do you think? Like, we had Morgan at the end, so it's going to tie into Origins somehow, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and to go over my love of Dragon Age, I love the first one so much, and it was such a good story, and it was like big and broad, And the second one was a little disappointing to me because I felt like it was a little constricting in like just in the city. But I will give the developers like a pat on the back in the sense that like there weren't like the traditional like, oh, we had a huge massive game for the first game. How can we top that? And instead they were like, let's do something a little more, you know, personable with the story of the main character.
Also, I think they just didn't have his last name was Hawk. I remember that.
Yeah, they're like, let's make something a little more personal and more about like the city of
Kirkwall.
Kirkwall, like just about Kirkwall and how he changes it. And I applaud them for that, but they could have done it better to where it resonated with me more. Because I feel like they try to make more of a fun game.
I've heard that the general consensus for 2 was that it was not well received at all.
I think it was not. I think it was well received, but not like the first one. Like the first one was great. Yeah. This one was good. Okay.
I think critically it did okay. I think as far as hardcore diehard fans, they did not enjoy it quite a bit. I thought it was. I was fine with it. I'll say that much. But it seems like for Dragon Age 3, at least when you read what the PR behind it is, they're listening to all the complaints. And they said they're supposedly addressing them in Dragon Age 3. So I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Okay.
I am too. Like I'm curious if they're going to go which combat system they're going to use. If they're going to use like the turn-based, not the turn-based, but the more like, you know, select
or go
stuff.
for like a Witcher type thing.
Or go like what they did the second one where it's like XXX, which I didn't like. If anything, like it kind of made me mad that BioWare made a game like this that would have been like, if I wish they would have made, oh God, this is going to sound so bad, but KOTOR 3 with the combat system from Dragon Age 2 would have been fucking amazing, where like you have a lightsaber and like you use it.
You're actually swinging your lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like you're actually swinging your lightsaber, and like I like as I played the game, all I could think was like, this would be such a good fucking Star Wars. Ugh! And I got mad, and like that was, but I still love that game, and like I got enveloped in the story. I played it 1.5 times, whereas Dragon Age 1 I played like 2.5 times. I was on my my third playthrough, and I think I'm gonna get it for the PC and play it again. See if I can mod it too, which would be cool. But I'm excited. I would love another Dragon Age game. I am totally down for that.
Well, did anything else stand out to us for the Microsoft other than Titanfall?
I think Titanfall was pretty much the only.
Move right into
Titanfall. Am I the only one that's not really excited about this?
Well, I don't think you're following the buzz.
Maybe I'm not, because from what I see, it's just like generic shooter, and now there's mechs, and you're like, oh.
Okay, yeah. Did you pay attention to the video at all? Do you understand what they're going for?
Yeah, like, and it bothered me.
Well, wait.
I promised I'd never get in one of those things, and then you died, and like, oh.
Explain this to me. What is Titanfall? Give us a rundown of Titanfall. Like, what are they going for?
So Kyle can correct you.
Yeah, I know. Here it comes. To me, from what it seemed to me, is like you're this veteran mech user who's really good in one. And then someone wants you to get out of one. I'm assuming either your wife...
Well, not so much story-wise, just mechanically, what are they trying to do?
Oh, like a first-person shooter, and every now and then you can jump in a mech, and then you can play in a mech.
Okay. Let me explain to you what Titanfall is.
Okay.
First of all...
Everyone listen to this really intently.
First of all, this is developed by Respawn Entertainment. Frank Zappella and Wes, I could have messed up those names. Those were the previous creative leads on Call of Duty all the way up till, I think, Modern Warfare 2. This is their new game with their new studio. And, it looks like what they're trying to do with Titanfall is they're trying to combine single-player and multiplayer elements. So all the story stuff is happening dynamically while you're playing multiplayer. Like, did you watch the demo at all?
I didn't watch the demo. I watched the reveal trailer.
You really should have watched the demo, because in the beginning you start out like in a dropship with other multiplayer people, and like you're getting briefed, and you go down, and there's like NPCs all around, like telling you to do stuff, giving you story bait.
So it's kind of like an MMO? But a first-person shooter.
Well, I don't know.
But less MMO-y.
I will say
that makes sense.
We'll leave that combining.
So it's quote from Derek. So it's like an MMO, but less MMO-y.
That sounds interesting, but still, to me, like story-wise, hopefully it's like a fun game then. Because if it's a fun game, I'm all for that. Because story-wise, it just looks so generic. Like, I promise I'd never get in one of those things. But I'm gonna get one in now.
From people who've played it, all I'm hearing is like, yeah, it's my game of show. Like, people are really saying amazing. Like,
that's only because they couldn't play Metal Gear Solid 5.
Like, I haven't heard... Yeah, maybe.
Let's not lie here, guys.
Oh, well, that's because they obviously didn't play the completely rumored that was showed at E3 2013 Fallout 4.
Really?
You guys know about this?
No.
Supposedly a whole bunch of people are saying that Fallout 4 was at E3 2013. And that it's coming out in 2015 for current consoles and next-gen and PC. And I'm like...
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if it did... somebody would have reported it.
Well, and also how many people are over at ZeniMax? Like they're doing an Elder Scrolls MMO right now.
Right?
I imagine there's a ton of people working on that.
Skyrim just wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Just wrapped. Okay, stop.
Yeah, that studio is at least on a 3-year cycle.
It's like, oh my god!
It's like pre-alpha.
I accidentally mistaken the Mad Max trailer for Fallout 4, which I did.
Yeah, I did it I mistaked it with Rage. I thought it was a Rage 2.
Okay, yeah, I could see that one as well. I don't think that was shown during Microsoft.
Feels like we should wrap up with Titanfall before we go to Fallout 4.
Yeah, God.
Well, I love that they're doing parkour. I like the mech elements. I like it looks like they could have some perk system, like that catching bullets thing. I have a feeling not every mech's going to do that. So I hope there's some customization with your mech. I'm excited to see how single player ties into this. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for all of it.
And I'm excited for it because it's the people that got canned from Infinity Ward back when Infinity Ward still had a sense of shed of dignity. You know, they didn't just, I'm going to cash in and make shit to your games every year.
I really enjoyed Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and then after that I was kind of like, yeah. Like, I played a lot of Black Ops. It was only because I had friends that played it. But so I will say, I guess, I will watch the demo, and maybe I will get excited, but from what I saw from the release trailer, I was just like, oh.
It's also a PC title, too. It's not exclusive to the Xbox One like they had stated during their conference.
All games should be able to play on the PC.
Except for The Last of Us, you can't have that. That belongs to us. Because we are the last of said us.
So is that the end of the Microsoft game?
Yeah, pretty much. EA.
You got through 4 points?
The best part is that with EA and Ubisoft, they'll be significantly shorter because
We should just do what we're interested in with EA and Ubisoft.
Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
To be fair, I don't know if you're joking or not, but that looked awesome.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, Plants vs. Zombies, fucking really? Mm-hmm. And then you make a mock, but oh my god, this game looks awesome.
Wait, almost Sunflower?
Disco Zombie! I was like, somebody resurrected Michael Jackson. This is great. And let's not forget...
Battlefront 3. That's all I gotta say about EA.
Let's not forget, Kyle. Peggle 2!
Yeah, the Peggle 2 announcement was pretty great. It was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront, which was pretty much the OMG of EA's conference.
I've wanted this for so long as a Star Wars lover. Like, I loved Battlefront 1 and 2 so much. And then when they released Force Unleashed 2, I remember getting so angry because all I could think of was like, are you that fucking stupid? Like, we all thought Force Unleashed 1 was okay. It was an okay game. It was fun, but there was no enrichment in it.
Great concept, poor execution.
Battlefront 2 was so much fun! So many people love that game, and you don't, like, that's when I think, like, that's when they were like, oh, LucasArts is gone. That's when I had no shame. I was like, no pity, I'm sorry. No pity, and no, like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't care. I was like, you guys made The Force Unleashed 2.
People lost their jobs, families.
I don't care! They could have made Battlefront 3, and I'd have felt horrible, and they wouldn't have gone out of business.
No.
Or gotten shut down. But they made The Force Unleashed 2, and it's like, that if you ignore your fans that much just to make an easy game that's going to make you some money, when you can make a game that people want.
Well, to be clear, I have a feeling the Battlefield 3 not releasing has little to nothing to do with LucasArts closing. Battlefront, sorry.
Well, I'm just saying they made Force Unleashed 2 instead of saying, hey, we're going to make a new...
Pandemic were the people behind the first two Battlefront games. And guess who they got bought out by and absolved by? EA.
Maybe I should get mad at EA.
EA could have made this game a long time ago and paid the licensing fee to Lucas.
LucasArts still had the IP, and they could have found a developing company to do it, but instead they decided to make Force Unleashed 2, and it's like, why?
Well, they also had 1313 going for them, which I'm sad that one got canned, because that actually looked like a good game.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent about it, just because, probably for the same reason, and I don't really feel anything for Battlefront 3 right now. Just I haven't seen really much on it.
Well, yeah, because all we got was a CG trailer.
Who cares? It's DICE making a Battlefront game. Stuff's gonna blow up, and it's gonna be awesome.
There's so much good stuff right now that I'm gonna be playing soon. I'm excited about those right now.
Yeah, like Battlefield 4. I'll be occupied with that until Battlefront 3 comes out, aka the Battlefield Star Wars skin.
Basically, yeah.
I don't even care. That's when I found that out. I was like, JonTron tweeted it, and it was like Battlefront 3 jizz, and I was like, at work again. I was like, ugh.
Well, I just put an all caps tweet and Facebook status that just said Battlefront 3 confirmed. Caps.
So besides those things, was there really anything else at EA Like, I'm trying to think. Like, there's a Mirror's Edge
They
cheat,
did this. Oh, that was cool.
which was nice.
I'm excited about
It was
that.
a nice nod.
I don't know. I think
excited.
Peggle 2 is going to steal the show.
Honestly, I'm sure Peggle 2 is going to do more than fine.
I know. I think I'm gonna be. This is where I'm gonna review too. I have always enjoyed sports games, just as like a time waster.
That was the part where I'm just sitting here going.
So I'm actually excited to see how, because like when you play like a sports game from the Xbox and then you play one from the Xbox 360, they are so much different. So I'm actually very excited to see how they're going to change.
Well, that was my problem with it. Even like being a fan, not being a fan of sports games, whatever. When are you going to show us the games? Like, it's crunch time right now. Why haven't we seen gameplay yet?
Do you think have they announced it, like the new Madden games?
I haven't really looked into it. I just noticed. What you released like at launch, sort of.
Is it going to be for the next gen, the next Madden?
I assume so. I haven't looked into it, but I just know like I've been watching these, going like, okay, where's like show me even just like one snap or something. Yeah. And all we've shown is just gameplay going like, oh, this is running in engine, which is like, fantastic, but. Can I see the game? Like, what's going on there?
It's like they're talking about all this technology that EA is putting into developing Madden, and I'm like,
fixed tackles.
I'm looking at them
5th year in a row.
I'm looking at them just with like we've been able to make it look so much better, and there's so much detail on the players' faces. I'm like, if you're watching a basketball game or you're watching a football game, you're not looking at their faces.
Well, look,
this does not make it.
Before
sports
you guys
games don't need to be.
To me, like I said, like as someone who played sports games growing up, like when you say they fixed tackling, trust me, they fixed tackling. Like you play NFL Fever 2002, and the tackling is bad. Like the character like morphs 5 yards to the side and then tackles you. Like they've gotten so much better, which is why I'm actually kind of excited, and especially with NBA because I enjoy playing basketball games too. Like the NBA, like how they apparently the dribbling is really cool. So I know I'm getting excited. I'm actually really excited about this, like to see what they can do with the next gen, and since it did. But other than that, in the EA, I think.
Well, slowing things down.
Slow down there.
I just wish they showed off. Well, like the last launch of 360 and PS3, they showed off a game called Fight Night Round 3. Looked amazing for a sign. I just wish they had something like that where they showed off at E3 and go like, okay. I'm on board now. I see what you're doing. Awesome.
And I think that would have been better. It would have been smart if they had done that.
To me, with EA's conference, obviously the big show stealer was Battlefield 4. I mean, they had 64 terminals up there, 64 people playing. That presentation, the fact that they're the fact that they're bringing back fan favorite commander mode, which I can now do on a tablet, which I'm just sitting here going, so I can go to the bathroom and call in I like this. I like this a lot. And remote play with the Vita and Battlefield 4 on the PS4. I'm like, I'm going to be on the can playing Battlefield 4. See ya.
You're just always going to be on the can.
That will be my new game station. So I mean, shit. I freaking flipped out when they dropped the skyscraper, man.
That is great. I'm really looking forward to see how that destruction plays out.
And then I really like how what they did was they said, oh, for all of E3, we're going to be streaming all of it. Like, anybody who wants to walk up and play the game, we're going to be streaming it, so you can watch it online at home. And I watched a little bit of it, and I'm like, well, this is pretty good. Even though it's only one map, and it's only alpha, which kind of blows my mind that that's an alpha.
Yeah, and they're going to be finished in, like, 5 months?
Well, they probably already have a working beta. They just only brought the alpha to E3 because that's easier to work with.
Okay.
That, and they don't want to run the risk like with the Battlefield 3 beta that happened in September of 2011, where it was like, oh, I can crawl through the ground. This is fantastic. So, yeah, the game looks awesome, and that's actually the game that I'm getting with my launch bundle,
Very
PS4.
nice.
So.
Well, as far as launch, I didn't get a launch bundle, but I'm probably going to get a little game called Watch Dogs. So if we move on to Ubisoft.
Segue right in there.
Lady Boner conference.
Okay, we definitely need to address this.
Girlwood, #Girlwood.
I don't know what the hell her name is. I don't know who
Alicia
she
Tyler.
is, but she needs to
Taylor?
stay the
Aisha.
She needs to stay the fuck away from hosting any conferences anytime soon. I am sitting
what's
there.
What's upsetting is she's really funny, and
she's not funny. None of her jokes were funny. Stop making jokes.
Because
I'm yelling at my
okay,
TV.
Look, hold on. She plays a character in Archer, one of my favorite shows, and she plays a hilarious character in that. And she also, before that, she was in a lot of like comedy things and did pretty well in it.
I like what she's in. I don't know whether it's Ubisoft or it's just her just trying to ad-lib and she's not that great at it. I like her and all this stuff. I just don't really want her presenting Ubisoft
I
anymore.
get it.
I want
You're
Joel McHale
tall.
back.
We get it. You don't need to mention it every 5 seconds when a European man stands up there and tries to give a presentation.
To be fair, she is really tall.
I understand why they thought she's African American.
Well, it's.
Tall,
I would have rather
beautiful.
have had Carrot Top up there.
Well, it's back to the Twitch TV thing. I got that same feeling, like reading those comments and then watching Aisha Tyler. Like, yeah, you're kind of like what's it called? The stereotype game, or like, oh, this is awesome. I can't go to work because I'm lazy and play games all day. Like, no, there's people play these games too, like normal people who have jobs and families and stuff. Like, you don't
Doctors,
have to go.
lawyers.
Yeah, you don't have to rely on the stereotypical gamer, like no girlfriend humor type deal.
Can somebody please explain to me what the Girlwood thing is, or whatever she had?
Last year,
Girlwood.
she made a joke about how a game gave her a lady boner.
Mm.
And I remember when I heard it, I was like, huh? Like, it shocked me in a way I was like I made a weird face, because it wasn't really funny. I was like, did she just say that in E3 Live? And I guess, like, she either...
And that made a big enough impact to warrant her wearing a t-shirt with hashtag Girlwood on it?
That was their, like, let's do, like, when we do something awesome,
That's her
hopefully
calling
Twitter
card?
will hashtag
I
people
saw
will
it
start
used on
saying,
Twitter.
That's
hashtag lady boner. I just got a lady
Probably
boner.
about how shitty that shirt was.
It was like brown. Wasn't it brown or like... It was like... I don't know.
It was... Yeah, I'm just like... You're showing off awesome games right now. Like, Watch Dogs looks awesome, but you're completely ruining my vibe with her.
Well, stop telling me the game is awesome. I can see the game is awesome.
Yeah, let me be the
game
judge of
speak
what's
for itself.
awesome.
Yeah.
So Watch Dogs obviously is the big one to come out of this particular.
Well, I mean, there's a few, but yeah, it's definitely one of the big ones.
Yeah, I think Watch Dogs is.
Is it that big though? Because we pretty much know the game. I mean, it's...
Well, that's what they ended on, and what like their big thing was, because it was a big thing at the last E3, and now this is like.
I remember that was my favorite thing of last E3.
Do you honestly think that they're gonna run with a headliner of Assassin's Creed 4? No, it's gonna be Watch Dogs.
I
Watch
think
Dogs
they're transitioning.
Watch Dogs is the new thing. It's the new Assassin's Creed, basically. The brand new tech demo.
They're good at that.
Yeah, I mean.
I personally think the biggest thing, the biggest surprise to me coming out of E3 was the, what's the new game?
The Division by Tom
Division.
Tom
I think that was the
Clancy's
game
Division.
to me that was like the one that surprised me the most. That game looks awesome.
After E3, when we initially got back together, I just like Kyle, I go, so Kyle, you want to buy a PlayStation 4 so that way we can play the Division together, and Derek can just sit and pout while playing Steam Greenlight games?
They're awesome. EvoLand.
Yeah, you did show me EvoLand, and that looked cool. But
$5 right now on Steam.
Assassin's Creed 4.
There's another Assassin's Creed. I like Pirates. I hope this wasn't as good. I hope that the third one was good too. And
I've
always given, like, when a company releases a bad game, I always kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. Like usually like, oh, this is what we did wrong. Let's not do this in the next game.
I didn't like 3.
Usually, I'm hoping they'll fix it. I didn't play it either, but I've just heard it's bad. Eventually, once it goes on sale, I'll get it.
But today, I started playing Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation on the Vita. Way better than Assassin's Creed 3. Oh my god. Assassin's Creed 3, it's like... this is the equivalent of freaking Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker as a protagonist. All he does is fucking whine. And... it's so many bugs.
So should have been sent in the
Civil War. And then the real time plot that was going on was like, you're ending with that. Okay. You're covering your ears, and I'm not spoiling anything. You end with. Besides, it's an annual franchise now, which means that I can spoil it at least 4 months out after it releases. So that changes the rules a little bit. So far, I'm enjoying the Vita Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation better. And then they take the worst thing about Assassin's Creed 3 and make it the highlight of Assassin's Creed 4, and that is naval combat.
Well, they could make it a lot better.
Also,
I hope they do, because...
I feel like you're in the minority, because I haven't really heard anyone speak ill of it.
It was so tedious. And I don't want this. I just want to stab people.
I just want to jump off roots and stab
just
people.
let me use
But her gamer 69.
Just let me use the gauntlet blade thing.
So what else? They did Rayman, which I mean,
that looks
awesome.
cool. I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
looks
Rayman.
great as always.
I played the Wii U demo of it.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
was
me
pretty
too.
cool.
I really
Whoa,
liked
Black
it.
Betty, bam a lamb. Anyway, it was pretty good. I like the music stages that are synchronized.
I think we can all agree that right now I think Ubisoft is really riding away. Like you said earlier, they're really getting good at
Them and
blockbusters.
Activision, they're just on top of their AAA game right now.
Ubisoft, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon 2 needs to happen.
And
you know
I
it needs
wouldn't
to
be
happen.
surprised if they didn't tease like another small like $10, $15 game.
Oh, I think if they're gonna make a Blood Dragon 2, I don't think it's gonna be like a $10, $15 thing. I think they're just gonna say, hey, here's Far Cry 4, and then here's Blood Dragon 2, which is a $60 full length game. Because I loved Blood Dragon more than Far Cry 3. I mean, Far Cry 3 is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's like the people at Ubisoft just looked at my Facebook wall and just said, how can we make a game that completely appeals to this one person?
Mm-hmm.
And then they put out Blood Dragon.
I'm not that big of a fan with it. I don't like the red atmosphere just kind of was like it to me.
Yeah. I bet RoboCop's pistol's a starter weapon. Come on.
But is there anything else we need to cover with them? Lady Boner and
God.
Not
What was
really.
that one driving game they had?
Oh, the club.
The club, yeah.
The club looks interesting.
Well, they spent the most time on that, actually. They spent a good 15 minutes.
Oh, I think it looks kind of like almost like they're trying to go for like a Fast and Furious Burnout, but with teams. I've heard that the mechanics aren't quite there yet. Like as far as like driving, I hear the feel isn't great, which worries me. But I hope for good things. I loved Burnout Paradise. I would love one where I can play in like a gang of cars and have my own gang. So yeah.
Isn't it also like similar to the Division, how with the Division you can have rival teams come in and intercept what you're doing?
It's sort of a common theme.
Yeah. So that seems to be a big thing that I'm noticing about this E3 is
at
that
the end where they pull up on the map.
A big push for massive multiplayer, but on consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, they also
MMOs generally don't appeal to me, but I tried World of Warcraft. So
they hesitate to say MMO, so I imagine it's gonna be like more like emergent with the gameplay. Like this event will happen, and then all of a sudden you'll have more players in. Whereas the rest, then you're all by yourself.
To me, the highlights were Watch Dogs and the Division.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, the Division, and I hope for good things for the club. But
because
those are definitely
when I was first watching that Division gameplay, I'm sitting there going, I don't think that's in-game actors. I think that's voice chat.
Yeah, when I first watched it, I was like...
I love the filter. I hope that filter's built in.
I had to ask somebody. I'm like, is this... You're watching this right now. Is this game chat? Because this is different, and I like this.
Yeah, and the guy on the tablet who just like...
Chris.
Yeah, Chris, who's taking a dump and sends in a drone. Hey guys, what's going on?
That will be Danny. Would you ever play Division with Danny? No, if he's on the tablet, he's shitting.
I'll just be on my Vita with the drone like, hey guys, what's going on?
You hear a giant fart in the background. God damn it.
Yeah, I got a bag of hot fries here.
Move on to Sony and the...
We should.
Alright, and I guess we should, like, as far as... Right after E3, I think everyone kind of knew Sony beat Microsoft handily, especially when like there will be no DRM and like they probably was like, oh, and like no,
just to establish,
free to trade your games. They were like, oh, like everyone got excited.
Well, just
about
to
that.
establish, Sony is Jack Chetton, CEO of I think it's Computer Entertainment. I don't know what division he's the CEO of.
Probably SCEA.
SCEA. He came out and he basically reiterated. You'll be able to trade, do your used games. Basically, everything we said Microsoft reverted on, Sony said they were already going to do.
And then everybody in the crowd is like, oh my god, this is amazing!
Which he did so well. I love that he was able to announce that you can't do online multiplayer with PS Plus, and they were still cheering. Like, just hats off.
If he wasn't in such a position of power within that company, I guarantee you he would have the biggest grin on his face during that.
He had the biggest grin.
He already had like a bit of a big smile, but I was expecting like a Joker grin at that point.
I think he did. He had a shit-eating grin.
Which
like,
I want to make a point about this, and I'm not saying that what they did was necessarily bad with the whole no DRM, you can do whatever you want with your games, but it's the fact that these people were standing up and applauding something that has been the standard for decades.
Well, the reason they were applauding is because the Xbox decided to take it away.
I know, but
and Sony fought for them. That's
why
what
should they be applauded for doing the standard?
Well, I mean, it's PR. That's what they want. They're excited. It's E3. I mean,
yeah, I guess, but it's like maybe if you could just like beam it directly into my brain, I might give you a standing ovation. But then I'd have a privacy issue.
I mean, it's like you loved the PS4 how to trade or how to loan your games.
Yes, that was actually a very very nice
jab.
Yeah, nice jab at them, which it was a great video.
Like there's a decent amount of fanfare, and there's a lot of fans that also go to these press conferences, get invited, so you also get that as well. So yeah, it's a bit. I mean, we try to be
69 is obviously there.
We try to be objective, but I get it. I understand.
So game wise, anything at Sony's conference that really blew you away?
Destiny. Can I just say we're just gonna jump right in that. We were watching Destiny. I was like, oh, because I watched the debut trailer, and I was like, this looks like Halo, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And like there was a scene where like a dropship came by and stuff fell out, and all I could see in my head was like Halo 3 when like the little phantoms came by. But and not like I fucking love Halo. Trust me, like this didn't bother me. But I watched them play it, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And then when they beat the boss thing and loot dropped. You guys can protest. I lost my shit when let's pick up the loot. I was like, did they
sci-fi dungeon crawler?
Did they just say loot? Like, to me, I grew up playing Diablo 2. I probably spent more hours playing Diablo 2 and World of Warcraft put together than any other game combined. Like I'll probably say Diablo 2 was the most of both those games. I fucking loved Diablo 2, and like the fucking loot system was like, other than the fact that it was like free for all, like that's why I played with my brother a lot, because it was like, hey, I saw that thing I could use, because you play with some scrub and he picks up an axe and he's a sorcerer and you're a barbarian and he keeps the axe like an asshole. That's the shit you had to deal with in Diablo 2. But when the loot dropped and he picks up this gun and it's like better than the gun he has, I almost lost my shit, because this is like what I've been wanting, because Borderlands tried it and did it pretty well. But Borderlands does it in a fun way. Like, Borderlands is fun. Like, even the second one, like, where you get
complete comic book, like...
Yeah, like, Handsome Jack is a funny character, and, you know, it's all fun. Like, I would give, like, at least an 8 out of 10. Like, Borderlands 2 was an amazing game. It was a lot of fun. But this looks like an immersive kind of game where you're, like, the story's great, and also I'm building a character, and I want to go in this place and get better stuff, and that just blew my fucking mind.
Well, ever since...
And then hold on, and then like events happen. It's like, let's go attack this thing and pick up even better shit from that, and I'm like, oh god, it just looked awesome.
What? PS4, baby. No PC.
I read where they were really they're hoping they'll give it out to PC.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking awesome. Please.
I mean, for me, ever since they had unveiled the game, I've been pretty
excited about it. And by the way, Marty O'Donnell was going to do the score on that game, which makes me want to play that game.
You know who's better than Marty O'Donnell? Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, Destiny looks like an awesome game. I really can't wait for that. It's definitely going to be a day one pickup for me.
Can we... Isn't that... I mean, that's a launch title, right?
No.
It's not?
No. 2014.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind. I take it back.
Sometime in 2014.
From what I saw, like when I said this earlier about which console has better games, from what I saw, I felt like Sony had better games, and just from the past and their writing and everything that Sony does.
As far as launch, it's really kind of even. I'd say it may be even leaning a little bit towards the Xbox with Forza. Launch isn't looking that great as far as first party goes. Like Sony, you got Knack, which could be great. I love Mark Cerny, so it could be amazing. It looks like the launch game of the boat.
And Knack does look like a very interesting game. I think I'll give that one a shot.
You get Drive Club, which I'm sure it's good. I'm pretty damn confident it's not going to beat Forza, just because Forza's so established and they always put out great stuff. And then Killzone, which I'm not a huge Killzone fan.
Yeah, we already covered Killzone in a previous episode together. So
I feel as though
versus Xbox's Rise, Forza, and Dead Rising 3.
I hate to break our incredibly stable podcast technique, but I really think we should go back to Xbox and talk about Project
Spark. Well, we just did. There you go, Project Spark. Check it out on the trailers. It looks awesome.
Let's check it out with Dr. Steve Rule.
That was the game that made me want to get an Xbox. Because then, like, they show this really cool thing, and it was campy, and he's like, go, rock attack, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then, like, they show, like, all the things you can do with it, and they're showing 2D games and just awesome things. And now I'm going to have to get Windows 8 on my computer to play this game.
Also, well, just explain what is Project Spark.
I don't know if I
you
can.
You create your own world, and you do what you want with it.
But it's not even like it's like you
Minecraft on steroids.
You should not listen to what we say. You should go watch the presentation because it like
you'll get a better grasp of it.
They create a 3D world, and they create like this town that's fighting these goblins, and then they go into this. They say this is stuff that people have created, and it showed like a 2D side scroller. It showed like a top down. Looked like spaceship shooter.
Yeah, kind of looked like a Space Invaders thing going on.
It showed some more 3D stuff. It showed like a ball, it looked like a ball on like a roller coaster, like in space. I don't know, like it.
It looked like Marble Madness.
Marble Madness, like it looked like to me that was the like I guess of all the things that Xbox did, other than Metal Gear Solid 5, which is the Jesus of E3. if Jesus was E3.
It would come down with an eye
Project Spark
patch.
was Paul, okay? If all you Christians all you Bible worshippers that watch this podcast will get that reference, but
I guess I'm going to find out how many people in my audience are Christian.
But that
analytics.
That was probably the coolest thing I saw from Microsoft, other than Metal Gear Solid. But we can go back to Sony now.
Batman Arkham Origins.
Is that an exclusive?
No.
Okay then.
But you know what?
Looks good. I really enjoyed Arkham City.
Want this game.
It was weird how much I was excited about PS3 games. Like they showed The Last of Us, which I've already played and loved it, and also Two Souls, right? Or Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, which that game looks.
I'm looking forward to both those games so much.
Isn't that a way to go out though? I really appreciate that. Like releasing two really
big titles,
really big titles as to like really. Give your console.
And what did Microsoft do? Gears of War Judgment.
Well, they said they're going to support it into 2014, so we'll see. But
but I have a feeling because Arkham Origins, it is going to come out on the PlayStation 4. But I have a feeling that with this particular console launch, because of all the big titles that you do have coming out late in the year. For current gen, it's going to be one of those deals where it's like January hits, and normally January is dead. Mm-hmm. You maybe only have 2 significant titles come out in January.
Fuck it, it's January.
You're going to have like all like Batman and all of this and all these games that were supposed to come out in November and all for the new consoles in January. So it's like I'm going to spend all my Christmas money on games people have been playing for 2 months.
Well, I mean, winter's, I don't really care, because winter's just going to be so crazy. We still have a GTA 5. We have so many stuff coming out.
Because Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming out on your birthday.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Kyle. Yep.
September 17th. Thanks, Rockstar.
Yeah, they got a special edition of that now. Yeah, whatever.
10 out of 10. Money hat.
But is Grand Theft Auto 5 going to be on the new console?
I haven't heard anything to that effect, so.
It's not on PC, so I don't care.
A lot of people are butthurt about that, and I kind of am too, because Grand Theft Auto on the PC is always fun, because I like making custom soundtracks.
The shit out of it.
Like Vice City, I have a custom 80s soundtrack. I filled in all the gaps that they missed. Like some Whitesnake in there. You can't have an 80s game without Whitesnake. So, what else? The big indie presentation that they had during Sony
that was awesome.
Yes,
that was fantastic.
Very well presented. And having all of those particular developers coming in and going like, I'm pretending to play my game.
Well, especially when you compare it to Microsoft when they showed Below, I think it's called, by the guys who did Super Sword and Sorcery, which looks fantastic. But when you look at that one game, and they also had Minecraft, which I don't think really counts. Well, they're independent, so sure it counts. Then you go to like 10 people. And you had I'm blanking on his name, but Abe's Odyssey, or the guy who did Abe's Odyssey, which is a classic game, also on stage with all the indies. Like, it was just fantastic. It was a great showing for indies.
And it just goes to show you, I mean, even with Microsoft and the fact that, this was their chance because, Sony's making that big jump for indie developers. This was Microsoft's chance to go, we also care about indie developers. They didn't really take that.
Just
Q3.
It doesn't really seem to be working, especially with, I think Fez 2, which was announced after all the press conferences. So far, they've said, what systems will be available on? The answer was not Xbox, so we shall see.
I think with the 360 and Xbox Live, I think for a lot of indie developers, it left a bad taste in their mouth.
So.
And they kind of want to go somewhere different.
Which is odd, because I felt like they did so good with Summer Arcade
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Baby Maker Extreme was an awesome indie game. So was I Made a Game with Zombies in it.
Like they had some really cool things, and then it just stopped.
And then PlayStation 4, to help accommodate the transition of indie developers from Xbox to the PlayStation 4, are like, well, you can self-publish your games on our platform, and you don't have to pay for patches. So, which was a big deal with
Fez in particular.
Yeah, because how much was it? I think it was at least 10. Was it 10 grand?
Whatever it was, Phil Fish was not liking it, and he wrote a big article kind of slamming Microsoft.
It was an absurd amount for like a few lines of code, I think.
Well, it definitely had its issues when it finally launched on Xbox, so...
Yeah, and if you know the history of Fez, that probably did need a little bit of touching up on. I mean, it's only been touched up on how many freaking times before it got launched.
Well, I think he said, like, he remade the game, like, 3 times.
Yeah,
so
so...
It's decent. Decent
It's
amount
like
of work on
Kojima with Metal Gear Rising. It's just like, I'm going to completely scrap this 5 times. Make a brand new... fuck it. Give it to Platinum.
So was there anything else at Sony that really kind of stuck out that wasn't part of third party?
There's the big thing we haven't touched on yet between the two consoles, and that's the price point.
Yeah,
which I believe is going to definitely be a factor with now, since Xbox has repealed DRM and all of that.
I don't see that big of a deal. An extra $100 to me, as someone who works about 30 hours a week, isn't that much money. I mean, I can afford that.
Think about our current economic climate, though.
And you're talking about families and kids trying to save up for
I
this.
understand
the
that.
cheaper one is going to get in the home easier.
Well, we already seen that the Xbox now is somewhat out pre-ordering just now. I mean, I think they...
I don't know about... I haven't seen any of that. Last I checked, they were still selling day one editions of the Xbox One. Whereas, good luck trying to get a launch edition of the PS4 on Amazon. Unless you get a bundle. I was lucky to get that bundle because you had told me that they came out with those.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that.
No problem, no problem.
So, I mean, I agree. $400 compared to $5 is a big difference, but to me, it's not that big of a deal. And I think to a good amount of people, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But I think I do agree with you. There are going to be people who are on the fence, and they're going to be like, well... this one's less money, and
especially when now they're basically the same console now. So you're looking at it like, okay, where are the games? Also the price point.
Yeah.
For getting the same thing. And I've heard amazing things about the PS4 controller also, so you also got that no longer being an issue.
Yeah, well, with all this talk of DRM enforcement and, a lot of people are still mad that games still cost $60. I think that the first console developer that comes out with a system like this will probably gain a major foothold in this so-called war, and that's $59.99 for your physical, $49.99 for your digital.
That'd be good.
With your digital,
give you some sort of incentive.
You can have your DRM. With your physical, you can do whatever you want with it. I think that's a very fitting compromise.
I don't know if they're gonna do that because Steam. That's one thing that's bothering me about Steam is that most games when they come out, they're $60. You'll get a game like I think Borderlands wasn't $60 for long. It went down to $49.99 really quick. And there are certain games that, but like Dishonored was $60 for a while, and I think BioShock will be $60 for a while.
My philosophy is that if you're buying a digital game, there's no excuse for why it should be $60.
Well, they don't care. I mean, if they feel as though they charge you $60, they're going to charge you.
I know, but that to me is ridiculous. Then I'll just go out and I'll buy a physical copy of it then.
But since we're also, I guess we're on just general E3 right now, I feel as though we should mention, I think maybe my favorite game from E3, which is Saints Row 4, which was released.
Yes,
I mean, it was. We've heard about it before, but they showed a lot of it at E3, and it is. I think Saints Row is a little bit of like underrated, which how amazing, because I played Saints Row 1 the demo, and I like played it because it was a time waster and it was just enjoyable, and it gave you like this small sandbox area where you could do what you want, and I was like, it's okay. And then I played Grand Theft Auto 4 and I was like, this is so much better than Saints Row 1. Oh my gosh, the car changes gears. How much better. But then I got Saints Row 3 on because I was on sale for Steam, and it was like $12 or $15, and I got it. And Jesus Christ, I love that game. It is so much fun. Like, there's like me and a friend were gonna LP it, and we kept trying to let's play it, and we kept trying to figure out like missions. Like we were gonna do like one mission, just to be like, hey, this is Saints Row 3, and this is what you will expect from Saints Row 3. And there was like 4 different missions that we couldn't figure out if we should do that mission, and then we play another one like, no, we should do that mission, and then we do another one like, gosh, there's a mission where you're a toilet, like you play as a toilet, It is absolutely a ridiculous game. And this one looks like they took that and they injected cocaine in it.
Superpowers.
Like
a dubstep gun.
God, and the dubstep
Aliens.
gun, you shoot it, and as it goes wub wub wub, like the people you shoot, like they do the robot, or like they do I don't know, they dance.
They start badly dancing to dubstep.
To the dubstep, and like it is so amazing.
And let's not forget the highlight of the trailer. Keith David as
Keith David. And what's great is the launch trailer is like, it makes like the most dramatic Saints Row game ever. And then it transitioned into them like having like shooting a hooker in the face, and you're just like, this is not serious at all. But it is such.
That's not a plan. That's a goal.
It is. I very rarely buy. I think I mentioned the last podcast. I very rarely buy games for $60. This will be a game I buy for $60. This and like Half-Life 3 and maybe Dragon Age and maybe Battlefront. Like very select games I will buy when they come out. And this will probably be a game I buy for $60 just because it looks so amazing. It probably one of my, other than Destiny and like Watch Dogs, this is a game I cannot wait to come out. And it comes out in like a month and a half, so I'm
it's like August or something like that, right?
Stoked about it.
Yeah. So, what about you? You got like a best looking game of E3 that you really enjoyed?
Actually, let's do you real quick, because I'm figuring it out.
He can't figure out if he wants to do Saints Row or not.
Well, obviously the best trailer ever was for that game, The Dark Sorcerer. That's a joke. That's a tech demo. That's not a game. Amazon, get your shit together. That's not a game. It's fucking. This is what the PS4 can do. It's obviously a game. Let's start pre-orders for it. I hate to sound so typical with this because it's so obvious, but this I've watched this trailer multiple times since it's come out, and that would be the Phantom Pain. That to me is like. I mean,
can I rescind my vote and join you?
Because if it's one thing that Hideo Kojima can do, and that's make a fucking great trailer. He always makes good trailers,
yes,
but I mean, this to me is like, it's displaying the side of Metal Gear that we have yet to see. It's now going to get a lot darker. It's not going to have a happy ending. The trailer itself shows you this is not going to be a very happy thing at all. There's
gunning down children.
There's gunning down women and children in a prison cell. There's choking a kid out. In the Red Band trailer, there's ripping a package out of, I'm not going to spoil this person's name, stomach. And it's blinking, and it's got a peace sign on it. I'm just like, oh, this.
What's really bad is if I get the game and play it, I will be texting both of you constantly. Like,
I don't know what's going on.
What the fuck is this? Like, explain this to me. I'll be like, have a wiki site on my second monitor going, okay.
The Metal Gear wiki. Foxhound.
Like, and it's still confusing me. I'm like, huh?
And, despite how much hate that, Kiefer Sutherland got pre-E3, I'm completely okay with him taking over as Big Boss. To me, it's completely logical because the name is going to have to change. Especially if they're going to, hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed after the Phantom Pain, remaking Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake with the Fox engine. You're going to have Big Boss and Solid Snake in the same game, possibly. You're going to need to change the voice actor. You can't have David Hayter in both. Mm-hmm. And despite how much I do enjoy David Hayter's performance, at least he was replaced by somebody who I believe has a great vocal talent. Kiefer Sutherland
24, man.
Yeah, dude, fucking Big Boss is Jack Bauer now, and people are complaining about this. I mean, come on.
I still think the Coke was the best.
Oh, yes, the new Coke conspiracy theory, which was this nice little theory going around saying, well, no, in the trailers he just showed off Kiefer Sutherland, but in reality, when we get the final product, it's actually going to be David Hayter in order to boost game sales. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense.
All right, the limelight is on you, Kyle.
All right, I got a top 3 here.
Oh, you faggot.
Destiny, for all the reasons we've said. I'm really looking forward to that game. It may be a top 4. One sec. Destiny, Titanfall. I'm really looking forward to Titanfall. I'm hearing such good buzz about it. Metal Gear Solid 5 for all the obvious reasons. And it's a top 4 now. The Tom Clancy's The Division. I'm really excited to see what comes out of
a
that.
dubstep gun?
Well, I'm excited for that too, but just as far as like,
That's not going to be on the next gen consoles.
like I know what
care.
I know
I
I'm
just-
getting with that. I'm just so excited about these
Really,
4
do you?
games
'Cause
and the
it looks
possibilities.
Fucking superpowers, bro.
I mean, Phantom Pain wasn't.
I guess
the
if
only
we're gonna
game
do it,
I
like,
was-
we should all do a top 4 then.
Yeah.
Like, my number 1 would be Phantom Pain. 2
And
would
you're
be-
not even a big Metal
I know,
Gear guy.
and this
That's
is
the
what's so
thing. And
crazy
then
about
you're
it.
just
This-
looking at this going, I need to play this.
This trailer blew my mind and made me jizz so hard that I was like, oh. Can we count Battlefront in this, or is it just like... I don't think we
You
should.
can
'cause
if you want.
I don't think I should because it's just like... This
It's-
isn't coming out
it's
for like
whatever
a year and a
you
half,
want.
maybe. So I'm not
Probably
going
more.
to... Huh?
Probably
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to come out for a long
Yeah.
time, so...
The ink is still drying on that EA deal, so yeah.
So that, Metal Gear Solid 5, Destiny, which sadly I probably won't play, and the, I can't... Dishonored? No, it's not Dishonored, the Final Fantasy game, I can't remember the
The
name.
Division.
The Division, and then
Metal Gear Solid 5 again.
and then Saints Row.
Saints Row
Because
4.
Saints Row just looks... What's funny is I wasn't that excited, but I was like, oh, it's just another Saints Row. And then I saw stuff and I was like, oh my god.
I guess I'll keep Phantom Pain at the top of the list because I think that was the one thing that any presentation displayed, which really kind of that the way that the music was composed in that trailer and the imagery, it sent shivers up my spine the first time I watched it. Like, this is some powerful shit here, and the fact that he's going on like, I'm going to be dealing with societal taboos in this game, like child soldiers and killing innocent people. I'm like, okay, I take my money, but you know what?
Take my hand and bring me with you.
Special interest groups aren't going to be too happy with you here in the States, but fuck them. They're always wrong.
A whole new world of child killing.
Well, it is Afghanistan, Aladdin, Middle East. Yeah, you're close.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked The Division. I think that's pretty much a complete thing right here.
Yes.
The Division looks awesome. Watch Dogs.
Yes.
And fourth one. A fourth game that I have to... probably Batman
There's
Arkham
a
Origins.
fourth. Oh, none of you are. You're all.
What?
And of course
no
Destiny.
Saint Row 4.
Saints Row.
here.
Well, Derek, I've only played the first one. I can't tell you about the rest of them.
I'm
really
excited.
should.
I will buy it. I'm buying it. And I'll
well-
have a ton of fun. Just that's...
Can we
Feels
go?
right.
Should we
Batman
do a worst?
Arkham
Is there
Origins
a worst that we can go
Destiny.
for?
Oh yeah, we can do a worst.
Oh, we can do worse. Why not?
Oh yeah, that's
what is? I was kind of. I don't really know if I can zero in on anything.
I can start...
We could say like Xbox.
The game-
DRM,
the
but
whole
obviously
the whole conference of Xbox.
But they
was fucking
obviously rescinded that, so that's not really a valid complaint anymore.
horrible. Well, obviously the worst thing about E3 was what's her face at Ubisoft that was presenting.
the Lady Bunner. I would say Rise maybe is the game I'm least.
I think we should agree, yeah, Rise.
Rise is
I'm really
definitely
just not-
the worst.
I'm sure a lot of people like it. It looks like
yeah,
a
like
great,
I said, I'm
beautiful
sure there are
game.
people
I'm
who
just
like
not...
the game, but I don't think I'll be one of them.
I'm
I'd
just
rather
not
play Rome
excited.
Total War 2.
Obviously Peggle too, because they didn't show a damn thing about that.
Maybe Nintendo's lack of like.
Well, Nintendo had already announced that they're not doing anything, and then they had like this small mini thing at 7 a.m. the next day where everybody was like hungover or still tired from the Sony after party going, what the fuck do you want, Miyamoto? Iwata, what are you doing to me? I haven't had coffee yet. And then they go, Mega Man, Super Smash Brothers!
Well, Yoga. I think
Oh,
Yoga,
Wii Fit Trainer?
Wii Fit Trainer is
You
my
mean
new favorite character.
You mean the latest victim in the Rule 34 Blitz? Wii Fit Trainer?
I don't even care.
Yeah, that's getting pretty bad. Don't go on 4chan. Stay away from that place. It's a hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, I think it's literally just Rise for me. I not that it looked terribly awful. It just looked... I'm just not interested at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said earlier.
Or the game. What was it? Ace? Not Ace. The game with no audio.
Oh, Crimson Dragon?
Crimson Dragon, just no audio.
It's unfortunate that happened, but...
Well, let's not forget that during the Sony conference, Assassin's Creed 4...
crashed, yeah.
Yeah, completely.
That was a bummer, too, because it was starting to ramp up and stuff,
Yeah,
too.
because that was like supposed to be the climax of the trailer, and it's like, is this what cloud gaming is? That's what I'm sitting here going, is this the cloud? Because if I'm going to have to wait for it to buffer, I think I want my money back.
Yeah, we could say worse is just the failures, the no audio for the Dragoon, or for Crimson Skies, and there was another demo during Microsoft that they restarted, Battlefield 4.
Yeah, Battlefield 4 had
That
to get...
one, too.
But the thing about Battlefield 4 is that instead of... Because there was... One of them they walked off on. Like, they quit sometime. Like, yeah, Crimson Dragon, I think they cut off.
Okay, yeah, I believe
and moved on. And then with Battlefield 4, the guy presenting is like, no, I'm not moving. I'm going to stand out here until you get this fucking thing working.
It's just unfortunate that happens because so many people like work for years on this hard thing, and you get that one big awesome showing, and then it doesn't go perfect.
Yeah, like
so that sucks.
The
like
guy
the
presenting, like the guy presenting Assassin's Creed 4, I felt so bad for him. I'm like, you are in the eyes of millions of people right now.
And he even did like the head shake. It's like,
I'm like, I can't imagine how embarrassed you must be right now, and it's really not even your fault.
Mm-hmm.
You're the scapegoat for that.
That.
But still, Assassin's Creed 4 is on my list for the worst.
Really?
Yeah, not...
I'm just kind of whatever on it.
I disagree with the fact it should be an annual franchise now, and then they come out and say, we got 3 Assassin's Creed games in development, and we promise innovation, and I go, yeah, bullshit. You haven't had innovation since the jump from 1 to 2.
I will say, well, the third one has some good innovation. Like the whole Friends, that was pretty awesome. Like you had allies, you trained them and they got better. Like
that stuff from Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Never used it. Never used it.
I used it all the time. I used it out of funness. Like, hey, watch this, and like
I never had to use it.
Getting back to worse, is there anything else?
Other than Rise, maybe like the lack of. I wish Nintendo would like given me more. But I'm still excited what they showed me. Like Mario
I thought
Kart,
they were fine. I think their 2013 years is just looking bleak. Like 2014 looks awesome for Nintendo.
At least they came out and said that the poor Wii U sales was their fault.
Yeah.
And not the consumer's fault, like typical Square Enix would come out and say, well, it's your fault because not enough people bought it. You're horrible fans.
Oh, can we go... Let's do a weird category. The weirdest thing happened at E3? Because I got one off the top of my head already.
Sure.
Final Fantasy Versus 13, now Final Fantasy 15.
I called that, like, episode 6 of PWNcast when I did the Final Fantasy stuff.
That's just crazy.
I knew that was going to happen, because it's like, this is a game that's been in development since before the PlayStation 3 was, like, a finalized product.
Also got a second one. Again, no more Ico, Shadow of the Colossus. No more... That team, they're making that other crap. People are going to yell.
Team Ico, is that?
Yeah, the Team Ico. What are they developing right now for Sony? They've been developing it for years.
Don't know.
With the dog thing and the little boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been so long, I can't remember. What? See, weird thing, Derek. While I go find this out.
Lady Boner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm gonna put that on the list. I know it's not a game, but it needs to be on the list. It was definitely one of the biggest rage moments for me. Was anytime she opened her mouth and said something that was supposed to be a joke.
Okay. Also, I'm back. The Last Guardian, again.
Oh yeah, that's right. A lot of people were like, "Where's the Last Guardian?"
Not being shown yet. Executives are still saying it's still in development. It's still coming out. What is happening with that team? Where's the game? I want a documentary about what happened there. Cause it's been so long
now,
with no game. It's getting Duke Nukem levels of long at this point.
Coming from me, who is for the most part, the majority of the Final Fantasy series I enjoy. For those of you who are getting ecstatic over Versus 13 or 15, now that it's been rebranded, like, oh my god, it's coming soon. No.
Not excited?
Highly doubt it. Don't get your hopes up for this game.
Like,
Please don't.
It coming out or it being good?
Both.
Really?
Because 13 in its trilogy exists, and they're gonna be finishing that off this year, and I'm like, don't get your hopes up. I don't care how pretty it looks. 13 looked pretty damn good too at first, and then we got the game, and it was, other than Final Fantasy X, it was probably one of the worst ones I ever played.
Well, there we go.
But then again, I remember reading.
Game's playing itself, John.
Yeah, I remember seeing Versus 13 being advertised with the bonus disc of Final Fantasy 12 in 2004 in the collector's edition. So, yeah, that's like I was 12 when this game was announced. I'm 21 now. What does that tell you about Square Enix?
What is happening? It's the Japanese game developers have gotten way better since the beginning of last gen, but there's still a few of them just like, what are you guys doing? Like, there's 5 Uncharted. Well, like Naughty Dog's put out 5 games right now. You're still on 1. Like, what's going on over there? What is your management?
If Activision can put out a Call of Duty game once a year, surely you can come up with something once every 2.5, 3 years.
Then you have like Final Fantasy 14, and now they're just re-releasing it. Like, how much money has gotten into that game?
It's not.
Are they ever gonna make back that money? I don't know.
It's not like Final Fantasy is like this low-grade title that doesn't carry any weight at all. No, it's a franchise that carries a lot of weight within the gaming community. I mean, it's
less and less so as time goes on, for sure.
Well, because 13 happened.
Well, that also 14 also didn't help at all.
I can't wait for a Realm Reborn. Can you? Can't wait to get that on the PlayStation 4.
I'll check it out, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Kind of ambivalent again about that one as well.
MMOs. Yeah.
So, should we wrap it up?
We still have to talk about the Phantom Pain noobs, and oh my god, it's Metal Gear Solid game.
I think we already went over Metal Gear Solid 5 quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we're also
tinfoil hat on here about the Phantom Pain, or as I like to call it, Metal Gear Solid Silent Hill Edition.
Yeah, those who aren't there.
Wait, which trailer was it that had the giant whale on fire eating an airplane?
And the flaming unicorn as well.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is going on with this game?
I respect him. Like I said, like even before this game came out, I just respect him for what he did. Like that, because I remember you showed me the hospital video and you were like, "Oh my god, this looks awesome!"
Oh,
like,
the QWOP simulator.
I don't know what this is. What is this? Like, is that Snake or is that like Solid Snake or is that Big Boss? I don't know who that is.
See, Konami acquired the rights to QWOP and made a sequel with the Fox engine, and that's what that trailer was QWOP 2.
Really?
No.
I can't. Here, have some of this. It's a nice pick-me-up. And you just follow this guy wearing face band and just trying to stand up and you can't. It's QWOP 2. Yeah, so... Phantom Pain.
I just want every game now
to be the Phantom Pain.
To be either use the Fox engine or Frostbite 3.0 or Source.
Yeah.
Or
and yet you hear nothing on the Unreal 4 front.
Yeah, and that, I remember seeing a demo for that, and it looked fucking awesome, and then it's just been like...
Only one tiny peep, that's all I've seen, and then the rest of it's like, you're being dominated by Frostbite 3 and CryEngine now.
I have a feeling they don't really care so much. Like, they did already unveil it. I'm sure they have a ton of deals with developers now. They don't really need to show it on E3 anymore.
That's true.
And they were doing some things with the Oculus Rift, I know, at E3, but other than that...
Oh, we should mention Oculus Rift. Excuse me. We should mention that before we go, because that was something that I didn't get a lot. I didn't look a lot. I didn't read a lot about it.
You only want to mention it because it supports Half-Life 2.
It's kind of old. They're working on some new editions. They're trying to prototype a lot of new stuff. Like I know they have an HD one in the works. They have one with like an upgraded accelerometer. Still work in progress. Looks interesting. Would be excited to see what pops out of that.
Put Silent Hill 2 compatible with it, and I'll buy it.
There we go.
I will shit my pants.
Tell him, John Carmack.
Repeatedly. So overall, E3 success, fail.
It was a good show.
I mean, you can't say it's a fail unless like the thing burns down. It's E3. It's I think it's a little overhyped because usually the big news now.
Last year's E3 was pretty shitty.
I think that was because that was the year before everything.
Yeah,
it was kind of like okay.
It was all building up to this.
Like, how can we make the Xbox 360 look awesome, and how can we make the PS3 look awesome? Well, the PS3 like they can say.
Let me let this dying mule look appealing for one more year.
But I think E3 is a little overhyped. I think it was more important when the internet was a little less prevalent. Not to say like in 2000 the internet was less prevalent, but like now with YouTube and everything so quickly, like. Things happen afterwards. Like, the biggest news of E3, in my opinion, just happened 2 days ago with the announcement that the Xbox 360 was renouncing the DRM and everything. That was the biggest news, in my opinion.
At least we didn't have to deal with Usher.
Yeah.
I think that will go down in history as the biggest why is this happening moment of any E3
T-Pain
ever.
Wasn't it T-Pain that did the, who was it?
Are you talking about Drake who did the FIFA thing? Talked about how much he liked FIFA?
No, it was a rapper. It was a rapper. I think it was last year, or the year before, and he did a dance game, and you were like loving it, and I was like, what?
That was Usher. He's talking about Usher, yeah.
Are you sure it was Usher? I think it was someone else. No, it was a cooler rapper.
Trust me,
you said was cool.
Trust me, because
like, you liked it because you thought it was cool.
That's a new joke now for every E3 conferences.
The last Ice-T thing. Oh, I just spoiled
Ice-T.
Ice-T doing Gears of War 3. I thought was the funniest, awesome thing ever.
That was amazing. Ice-T doing that was awesome.
You gonna Rikus?
Yeah. So, you gonna pre-order any consoles, Derek?
No.
No.
I will be getting a new video card soon, though.
Well, Kyle, you've got both of them.
Already got both on pre-order. Gonna buy them both. Gonna see what they both do.
I've got the launch Battlefield 4 launch edition of the PS4, and probably sometime next year I'll buy an Xbox One, since now they've rescinded most of the things that I was butthurt about. That Skynet Connect edition, I'm telling you.
already does that anyways. Like, that's what doesn't bother me about it. Is like, yeah, when I call, the NSA keeps a call record of my call, so whatever.
Wait, NSA, Prism, the PS4 is a Prism. Oh God!
We love you, NSA.
And with that, we shall leave you with
Get Clippy. Jesus Christ, I hope they don't last this long.
good night, everybody.
'Cause that's gonna blow
From
it.
everyone here at PWNcast. Go the fuck to sleep.
Little Goose 91 signing out. Play with me on Sims 2 and Battlefield 3 on the PC.
PWNcast.